Is it important to hire a contractor for my agency? It's not important, and it's not really. It depends where you are in your agency. If you are just starting out, I recommend you run the ads on your own. Simply just because that way you know what to look for when you do, if you do scale up and you do get bigger. You know what to look for when you're hiring out a Facebook ads contractor. Because the problem is with a lot of contractors and like when it comes to outsourcing in general, if you don't really have much experience or you don't know what to expect, the person can literally do anything and then you could think that's like good, but then it ends up blowing back on you and blowing back on your client. Especially if you don't have much money, it's really not important to hire out a contractor. Um, I say like before even thinking about hiring a contractor, you need to learn how to make sure you're getting appointments and make sure you're getting discovery calls and booked because a lot of people like to stress about how do I run Facebook ads, what do I say in my proposal, how do I hire a contractor or whatever, but then they get all this stuff figured out and they don't use any of these assets they build because they don't have appointments, they don't have clients. So figure out a way to um, um, figure out getting appointments first, prospecting. That's like the very first step, and then honestly, like how it happens is like once you get to that step, it's amazing how fast you learn that step because you know you need to implement it very soon. So you can learn it very fast, implement it. But if it's important, it's not important to hire a contractor for your agency. Simply just because you can run the Facebook ad, you can learn how to quickly do it. If you really want to, you can. You can hire out a contractor, but I would say make sure they're qualified. Make sure you can see like actual tangible results that they've gotten beforehand, and then what you want to ask them is like, okay, what would you do if we're actually working together? So it's like, okay, hey, I have this solar client who wants to generate more leads and get more residential sales. What would you? Can you let me know, like in as much detail as possible, how you would do that for this guy using Facebook ads? And then you want to see how much level of detail that he says. So if he says like, "Oh, well, just run a Facebook ad, target their location," and says just have a ad that says, "Oh, free quote for solar," it's probably not the best guy to go out there. If he says, "Well, the first thing I would do is like let's make the land like focus on the landing page," like he should ask you questions as well. If he doesn't really ask you questions, that means he doesn't really know what much of he's doing. But he'll probably be like, "Oh, like do we have a landing page already set up? And what's your budget like, etc., etc." He'll probably be like, "Okay, we're gonna set up a traffic campaign, and we're going to run audiences that are interested in solar, who are interested in green energy, who are interested in maybe even Tesla, because Tesla's very green for the most part, right?" Then we would have an ad which shows your workers working on a local solar roof and smiling or looking at the camera. See the level of detail that they're saying to you when you hire out the contractor, and make sure like if they have case studies and results, they should be able to explain how they're able to get those results inside and out for the most part. And yeah, so that's pretty much what you want to think about when you're hiring a contractor. But again, that's not important. The important part is booking appointments. Make sure you have appointments. While you have appointments, if you have those, then you can focus on the next step, which is, okay, how do I turn these appointments into closing calls, proposal talks, and closing those deals? Like, how do I increase my sales skills? And this is just another thing that my course is gonna just dive into, just all of that stuff.